Hi guys, it's Miss Pratt, and today we're going to learn about lines, and we're also going to learn how to draw a flamingo, which is a bird that's in Africa along with other places. But we're going to talk a little bit about flamingos, and then we're going to use our lines to draw our flamingo, and then to decorate the background. Alright, so I'm throwing out lots of art vocabulary words for you. Line is one of them, and then background is another one. So our background is what is behind our main subject. So our main subject in this case is our flamingo. But I'm going to put this closer, and I want you to look and see what lines you can see. So pretty much my whole picture is made up of lines. Does anybody remember what lines are? I've got it written on the board. I don't know if you can see it well, but so lines are marks on a space. So in our case, normally when we mark on something, we mark on a paper. All right, that's what we're going to do today. So almost any mark you make on a paper is going to be a line. The only one that isn't is a dot. Okay, but this is a line. This squiggly line is one. Curvy lines. Okay, they're all different kinds of lines that we make and that we use every day. Okay, so I drew 3 examples for you. Are there any other lines that you can think of? They might be curvy, they might be jagged, they may be a dashed line. But think about that, see if you can come up with any other lines, and I'm going to draw some more up here. Hopefully you can see them okay. Alright, so there's a few more. So that answers what do they look like, which is my first question up here. Now, the question I want you to think about is, why do we need lines? Do you have any ideas? So we need lines to basically draw anything. Okay, if you didn't have lines, you wouldn't be able to draw that flamingo. You wouldn't be able to make shapes, so you couldn't make squares or triangles. Circles you could make. So lines are what makes up all of our artwork. Okay, so they're very, very important, and they also are what you need for patterns. They're what you need for rhythm sometimes in a picture. You need them for all the basic ingredients of an artwork. So what we're going to do today is we're going to work on our flamingo, like we talked about. And I'm going to give you a few facts really quick before we get going. So the flamingo in Africa is called a lesser flamingo. And that's because I believe it's a little bit smaller than flamingos in other places. So they can be anywhere from 2.5 pounds to 6 pounds. So really about the size of a small dog. And they can be anywhere from 31 to 35 inches tall. So that's just a few feet tall. All right. And currently they are classified as near threatened because of pollution and human activities. So while you always see pictures of huge, I guess, groups of flamingos, they actually are close to being endangered. All right, so up here I've got our materials that we need. You need paper, markers, and if you have it, Sharpies. If you don't have a Sharpie, it's okay. But I used that on mine just so that you could see where the flamingo is. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the shape of our flamingo. I would start with a pencil. Let me add that. Just because if you mess up, that way you can erase it. Alright, so I might be blocking your view for part of this. I will move so that you can see it. But what you want to do to start with is we are going to do the curve of the flamingo's neck. And it's kind of like a wonky S. Okay? And then you want to go up and do the top part. It's almost exactly the same. And if you noticed in my picture, I fit in almost the whole part of the body. You don't have to fit all of that, okay? So like mine is going to be really big, so I may not be able to fit all the body on the board, and that's okay. Just fit what you can. You do want the neck and the head, obviously, and I would like you to have a little bit of the body, but if you can't fit all of that, it's okay. All right, so we've got our neck. And if you see, I'm going to fix some spots on mine where it's not quite wide enough, and I'm going to go back and erase, make it look nicer. Now, we have to make his body, and it almost looks like a turtle shell. So you're going to come to this top line, you're going to bump up, and then you're going to come to this bottom line, and you're going to curve down for his leg, his or her leg. You're going to come to the other side, do the same thing, you're going to curve down, and they have really, really skinny legs. Okay. Then you're going to curve around. And if you've ever seen flamingos, a lot of times they stand on one leg, which is kind of hard. You can try it when we're done, see if you can balance on one leg. So I drew mine to where it looked like he had his leg folded up underneath him. So if you want to do that, you're going to start down here at the bottom. You're going to curve it around. I curve too much. And drop down for his foot. Curve back up. Alright, so you're going down, drop down for his foot, curve back up, and basically that part right there is like an elbow. Alright, now I did a line for where his wing would be. And I think I'm going to fix this leg because it looks a little funky. There. I think that looks better. Okay. Now we need his head. And I'll be honest, that's probably the trickiest part, I think. But doesn't mean we can't do it. Alright, so watch what I'm doing and then follow along. So you're going to come to this top line and you're going to make kind of like a half circle. Just like I've got. Then they've got really long beaks, so you're going to come down. And you're going to do the same thing going back up. So curve beak. And I'm going to curve it around to his face and neck. And that looks funny, so I'm going to fix it. See why I said it might be good to have a pencil. Just in case you mess it up, you can fix it. Just like I did. Alright, so I'm going to make it a little skinnier. Now, our flamingo needs his eye, and he probably needs a line for his beak. Now mine has a really, really long beak. And if that's how you want it, that is fine. Okay, if you want yours to have a shorter beak, that's fine too. Okay, so there's our flamingo. And if you need to go back and catch up on anything, that is perfectly fine. Now, I'll be honest and tell you that my flamingo, if this was actually my drawing, I would try and do a better job because I don't think his head is quite big enough for his body. Okay, that's not a bad thing. It will still look good when I'm done. But before we do anything else, I want you to take a minute and look at your flamingo. You can pause the video if you need to and see if there's anything that you want to fix or that you think you could do better. Okay. And if you have a Sharpie, I would go ahead and go over all of your lines right now and erase your pencil lines after you've done that, okay? If you don't have a Sharpie, go ahead and get your markers and we're going to move on to the next step. So I'm going to use my whiteboard markers. Hopefully you'll be able to see them up here. But we're going to do the background. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on this picture. I'm not going to color it in solid. I'm going to use my lines to color it in, okay? Okay, so I've got my markers together, and I'm just going to use blue for water. I might have a little bit of green land. Got yellow for the sunshine and orange for the sunset. Okay, so I'm going to start down here, and remember, when you're drawing, you need to make sure you do not draw over your flamingo. Okay, we're not doing anything else in the flamingo this week, but we'll work on him, the inside of him, next week. Okay, so I'm going to do a line across where the water goes. I'll try and darken that up a little bit more so you can see it better. Alright, so I'm doing my line for the water. Alright, so that means that if the sun is setting and it's almost down, it would be setting on that water. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my sun. And then I could do my rays coming out if I want to do it that way. Or if I want to do my lines like I did on my paper and curve them around the sun, I could do that. So over on the other side, I'm going to do a little bit of grass. And if I want to make it actually look like grass, I'm going to do lines coming up. Again, we're using our lines. Okay. And I'm going to spend some time coloring in my water using lines. So I'm just going to go back and forth. Now I'm going to grab a darker blue marker to go over some of those lines and add some different shades to it. Now, if you are doing the sunset, one cool thing is that with the water is the sun is going to reflect on there. So you're going to see that on the water. So if you want to draw the sun reflected on there, you can. The rays would reflect too. See how easy that is to make a reflection? I'm going to grab my dark blue marker. Now I'm going to add some extra color through there. Okay, so I want you to finish class today by coloring in the background, not the flamingo, just the background of your flamingo. And then I want you to be looking for your sketchbook assignment for today that you can do if you have extra time. But make sure you know where this is for next week, because we'll be using it and we'll finish up our flamingo. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if I can help with anything, let me know. I hope you have fun, and I miss seeing you guys. Bye.